In today's video, I'm going to show you how to quickly simplify your Node app by loading your configuration straight into the global process.env object using Node's built-in features, and how to potentially get rid of external packages like dotenv. Here's the truth. Nowadays, most projects don't need dotenv anymore, as modern Node now gives you two built-in ways to load dotenv files. And once you understand the difference between them, you can pick the cleanest option for your setup and keep your dependency list smaller. So let's start with the first option that now replaces dotenv in most cases, Node's command line env-file flag. In short, this flag allows Node to read a configuration file and load its variables into the process.env object at startup before your application code even begins. That in turn allows you not only to influence the behavior of your app, but also the behavior of Node itself, for example through variables like Node options. With that being said, there are two things to keep in mind when using this flag though. First, if the specified file doesn't exist, your app will terminate immediately. If, on the other hand, you want to keep it running regardless and maybe use fallback values in your code, you can use this flag instead. And second, if you specify this flag multiple times to load multiple configuration files at once, and the same variable is declared 2 or more times, only the last value from the last file will be retained. By the way, if you're new to backend development with Node and want to actually start shipping instead of just guessing, you can check out my free email course that will teach you how to easily build your first command line interface tool and Express API in just 7 days. You'll find the link in the description below. Now back to the video. Now, if you're looking for more flexibility and want to control things from code rather than the command line, you can instead use the process.loadEnvFile function. Unlike the env-file flag though, this function will load your configuration variables after Node has already started, which means that it will not change the startup behavior. However, this method offers the advantage of allowing you to programmatically decide at runtime which file to load and under which conditions, which is useful if you want, for example, to load a specific configuration based on the deployment environment of your app. You should note that when executed without arguments, this function will try to load the .env file present in the working directory where your script was launched from, and will throw an error if it doesn't exist. Now, before you start using any of these methods, here are two things to keep in mind. First, your real operating system environment will always have the highest priority. This means that if a variable already exists in your shell, the variable in your configuration file will not override it. And second, all the variables present in the process.env object are parsed as strings, even if they represent numbers, booleans, or JSON objects, which means that you will have to manually convert them before using them. So having said all that, where does it leave .env? Well, to a certain extent, .env is still a valid tool, but it's just no longer the default choice. The main reasons to keep it today are mostly related to backward compatibility and extra knobs. For example, if you're stuck on an older version of Node, .env can be the simplest bridge. Or if you want lots of configuration, like debug output or custom loading logic, .env will indeed give you more switches to flip. However, if your machine is running Node version 20.6 and up, and you want the simplest dependency-free setup, you should definitely consider using the env-file flag or the loadEnvFile function to keep your project cleaner. And here it is for today, guys. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and to visit learnbackend.dev to get the free 7-day Node.js starter kit today. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Cheers!